All hands on deck! Hi, I'm Maddie from Ireland. My dad and I lived in a small fishing village on an island. My childhood was quite unusual. There were a lot of sharks in our bay, and I even hand-fed them. They were basically my pets, my bloodthirsty cuties. I often sailed with my dad on his trawler. He taught me to navigate by the stars and tie all sorts of knots. In the evenings, I would sit on the deck and listen to his sailor's tales. Dad knew a ton of them. I loved it when he pretended to be an old pirate. Dad, tell me the legend about the ghost fisherman again. Yo ho ho. All right then. Once upon a time, a fisherman was betrayed by his friends and lost at sea. But before that, he swore that one day he would come back to teach those traitors a lesson. Ever since then, his ghost in a yellow cloak with a hook where a hand should be appears when injustice occurs, and evil people face his wrath. Nice! I liked to gather seashells and make bracelets and hair ornaments out of them. There were no boutiques on our island, so I also made the clothes that would complete the looks I was trying to create. On the one hand, I liked my life, freedom and a fresh breeze. What more could I need? But on the other hand, I knew I wouldn't achieve anything if I stayed there. There wasn't a single college on our island. I wanted to get a degree and make something of myself. But to do that, I had to move to the city first. One day, fate gave me a chance to achieve my dreams. That day, Mom suddenly showed up at our house. I resented her for leaving me and moving to the capital years ago. We hardly ever talked. Why are you here? It's not like you give a fig about me. Maddie, that's not true. It's just that living on such a tiny island made me miserable. Yeah, right. I wasn't interested in her excuses. She said that she was gonna take me to the city with her and send me to a good school. Here, you're like a fish without water. If you move to the capital, you'll have a lot more opportunities. Even though we were in no way close, it was a tempting offer. I didn't want to leave Dad behind though. However, he only wanted what was best for me, so he let me leave with Mom. I'm scared. What if life there is too different? Remember, sweetheart, those who have sailed the seas are not afraid of puddles. You've pet sharks for crying out loud. There's nothing my Maddie can't do. Thank you, Dad. I hugged him and said goodbye to our island. It was time to start a new life. Mom's apartment wasn't big, and she didn't seem like she was rolling in money, so imagine my surprise when I found out she was sending me to an expensive private school. Something wasn't adding up. Where did you get the money for this? Did you rob a bank? Don't be silly. Hurry up, you don't want to be late for class. I wanted to make a good impression on my classmates and make a lot of friends. Unfortunately, it seemed like I'd ended up in some sort of clone factory. Seriously, all the girls had the same trendy hairstyles and wore the same clothes from the latest collections. Instead of talking to each other, they were scrolling through their phones, listening to music and only occasionally exchanging a few generic words. Have you watched the new Netflix show I sent you? Yeah, it was awesome. Great. Obviously. I quickly became the center of attention. I stood out, and I soon realized it wasn't a good thing. Two popular girls called Lulu and Erin stared at me like I was a painting in a museum. Wow, your jewelry's so unique! What's it made of? Seashells. Wow, like precious stones? Are you joking? Who's the designer? I am. I haven't heard of them. I mean that I made it myself. The two girls were very beautiful, but it was obvious they weren't the sharpest tools in the shed. I gave them each a bracelet. They immediately took a bunch of selfies and posted them. After that, we went to the classroom. There were legends about the cruelty of our history teacher, and I soon realized why. I'm giving you a quiz with no warning. He even laughed like a villain. My classmates whispered to each other that bastard probably wanted them to fail and then study during holidays. I decided to come to their rescue. There was an aquarium in the classroom. The teacher was apparently interested in fish. It was my time to shine. I started to list interesting facts about fish, then tied a couple of knots and even told the class the legend about the ghost fisherman. Everyone listened with their mouths wide open. We got so carried away that the teacher forgot all about the quiz. After the lesson, my classmates thanked me for my help. Erin and Lulu said they wanted to be my friends. At first, I was over the moon. But as I thought about my first day at school on the way home, I realized their smiles seemed fake to me. Why would those beauties want to be friends with a weirdo like me. They were definitely up to no good. I wanted to ask my mom for advice. After all, she would know better than me how to get along with the locals, but she was busy. Mom seemed like she was leading a double life. She would disappear for days and was never in a mood to talk to me when she was around. Maddie, can't you work it out on your own? I'm exhausted. What'd you do, rob a bank again? Mom didn't even dignify that with an answer. She was too busy snoring on the couch. Her indifference made my blood boil. Why did she even want me to move in with her if she didn't care about me? I felt like a fish stranded on dry land. So I went for a walk to get my mind off things. But guess what? I got lost and had to ask a stranger for directions to my own house. Oh, it's next to my drama club. Let's go, I'll show you. Her name was Ingrid, and she was as beautiful as a sea goddess. As we walked, she asked me why I looked so down. I couldn't help but tell my new friend that I recently moved and nothing felt right since. Mom didn't care about me and I felt like an alien at school. Lulu and Aaron seem suspicious to me. They say they like how unique I am, but I don't trust those prom queens. Lulu and Aaron. Their names sound familiar. Do you go to a private school? Yeah. Oh, you're in trouble then, Maddie. My sister went there too. Lulu and Aaron acted like they wanted to be friends with her. And then they pranked her so cruelly she had to transfer to another school. Be careful with those witches. Oh, I knew I couldn't trust those snakes. Ingrid helped me find my way home and offered me a couple of style lessons. No offense, but you stand out way too much. I'll teach you how to be fashionable and popular. What do you say? Avast. Not another word, I'm in. Lesson 1, no more nautical expressions. We exchanged phone numbers and agreed to meet up later. The next day at school, Aaron and Lulu were acting all friendly again. But I could see through them now. Your hair is so pretty and shiny. It's a wig made of algae. Really? We've got to order some then. What a performance. They pretended to be airheads, but were actually calculating and cunning. Erin suddenly took a ticket out of her purse and handed it to me. I'm throwing a party on Dad's cruise ship next weekend. Maddie, you're so cool and you know so many interesting stories. I'd be so happy if you came. I had a feeling they were gonna try and prank me at that party. However, I didn't want Aaron and Lulu to realize they weren't fooling me anymore just yet, so I took the ticket. I'll be there. Awesome. Yay! That evening, I hung out with Ingrid again. As promised, she helped me transform. Soon enough, I looked better than Lulu and Aaron combined. Now, all the boys will fall for you. She helped me create social media accounts and explained which photos to post to get a ton of likes. Ingrid even told me what music and movies I needed to like if I wanted to be popular. I wanted to thank my friend, and I decided to tell her the story about the ghost fisherman. Ugh, that's so creepy. It is? Everyone at school liked it. They were just messing with you. Before going home, I showed Ingrid the ticket and told her that Aaron had invited me to a party. They probably invited you to make fun of you. I would pretend it slipped my mind and be a no-show if I were you. I was freaking out thinking about it, and eventually just crumpled up the stupid ticket and threw it away. The next day, I wore my new clothes to school. Lulu and Aaron must have realized I wasn't someone they could bully anymore because they kept staring at me like I'd farted in their face the whole day. Maddie, you're kind of not awesome anymore. Not great at all. My classmates liked my new look though, and we got to talking about the latest TV shows. I was the center of attention. The school queens kept glaring at me. They snorted and pretended like I was an empty spot. Later, Ingrid called me to find out how my classmates reacted to my new look. I told her everyone but Lulu and Aaron had loved it.
They're just jealous because you're more beautiful than them now.
Those wannabe bimbos are afraid you'll take their throne. My friend gave me another important piece of advice. Remember, Maddie, always wear a mask and don't trust anyone. You need to be a shark to survive in this city. That was a bummer. I was hoping to find some real friends and I didn't want to become a haughty pretty girl. I looked around and realized I'd become yet another clone in fashionable clothes and lost myself. I wanted to talk to my mom, but guess what? She had left a note saying she'd be back in the morning and left again. That was the last straw for me. The move was a dumb idea. I decided to give up and go back to Dad. I texted my mom that I was tired of feeling unwanted, and I went back home to my island that same day. Maddie, but what about your future? You could have made it big in the city. The price is too high. I don't want to lose myself. I'd rather live on our small island. At least everyone here is sincere and free. I changed into ordinary clothes and took my first full breath in days. Ingrid had done a good job, but that model look just wasn't for me. Mom called me a dozen times to ask why I'd left, but I didn't answer because I was still mad at her. A couple of days after that, Dad and I went fishing on his trawler as usual. usual. All of a sudden, we got a warning about an upcoming storm. We were about to sail back when I noticed a lone boat in the sea. Aaron and Lulu were on it, shaking from the cold. Holy Poseidon, what the what? Help! Dad and I sailed up to their boat and helped the girls get on board. Their teeth were chattering from the cold and from fear. What are you doing here? They said they'd been having fun on the liner. But when the party was in full swing, the ghostly fisherman with a hook hand appeared and made them get on the boat. Can you believe it? Was the legend true after all? The girls asked us to bring them to the city, but Dad said a storm was coming and we would have to wait it out on the island. Soon, the sky was covered with clouds and the sea ran high. Luckily, we got to shore before it was too late. The strong winds cut the electric wires in several places. We were left with no power or signal. The last thing I wanted was to spend the weekend with spoiled princesses. I could practically hear them whining. How am I supposed to post on Instagram if there's no internet? I want to go back to Starbucks. But Aaron and Lulu surprised me. The girls looked around my house with interest and were all but skipping. Wow, what a beautiful fabric! I want a dress made out of it. This is a fishing net. We use it to catch fish. We had a heart-to-heart, and it turns out they hadn't been planning to prank me. Aaron and Lulu might not be the brightest bulbs on the Christmas tree, but they were cute and sincere. We liked how unusual you were, and you always had a story to tell. It was awesome. But then you changed out of nowhere and became like everyone else. We were disappointed. I realized that I shouldn't have tried to fit in so desperately. They accepted me when I was being myself. The girls and I had a great weekend on the island. I taught them to fish and I showed them the shark bay. Even though we were quite different, we became real friends. Soon, the signal was back and Mom called me again. I was finally ready to talk to her.
Maddie, why did you run away?
Because you didn't care about me or my problems. That's not true. I did everything to provide for you. It turned out Mom was always away and exhausted because she was working 3 jobs to pay for my expensive school. I didn't tell you about it so you wouldn't feel awkward. Oh, Mom, I'm sorry. I thought you were leading a double life. My parents and friends urged me to go back to the city and finish school, but I didn't want Mom to work so hard, and Dad didn't have that kind of money either. But then, Aaron and Lulu came up with a cool idea. You make such gorgeous jewelry out of seashells. We'll help you make a website so you can sell your works. That was brilliant. I never would have thought about that. In the end, I did decide to go back to school. All the misunderstandings had been dealt with. The whole thing with the ghost fisherman kept bothering me though. Who brought the old legend to life and scared Aaron and Lulu? Dad brought us to the city and gave me a piece of advice before sailing back. Remember, a smooth sea never made a skilled mariner. You can handle everything, Maddie. Thank you for always believing in me, Dad. The next day before school, I decided to drop by Ingrid's place and tell her we'd been wrong about Lulu and Aaron. She hadn't been expecting guests though and was clearly confused when she saw me. Maddie, I thought you'd moved back to your stupid island. I mean, it's so good to see you. That's when I saw the ghost fisherman's costume behind her back, and the ship ticket had been thrown away in the trash. Well. Getting to the bottom of the mystery wasn't as hard as I thought. Ingrid said it was just a prop from her drama club and then kicked me out. She was clearly on edge. See you later. Did she use me to get back at Aaron and Lulu for the way they treated her sister? At school, I asked the girls about it and found out the truth. It turned out Ingrid had no sister. She used to go to our fancy school and was the biggest bully there. We thought she was our friend, but Ingrid just used us. She treated us like her servants. That snob turned everyone's lives into a living hell. At some point, we got tired of it, banded together and made her transfer to another school. So that's why Ingrid was pissed at them. She didn't want me to get along with her former friends. After she found out about the legend and the party on the cruise liner, she pulled my ticket out of the trash and headed there to scare her former classmates. Can you imagine? She was the real snake all along. I decided to teach Ingrid a lesson. To do that, I called her and told her that Lulu and Aaron were throwing a party on the beach. The girl bought it and came there in the creepy ghost fisherman costume. She was hoping to ruin another party, but she just made a fool of herself. This time, everyone knew who was hiding behind the mask. We started laughing and filming her. Ingrid lost it and ran away, humiliated. We never heard from her after that. I became popular at school and found loyal friends. The coolest thing was that I succeeded because I'd stopped trying to be someone I wasn't. Being true to yourself is what matters most. By the way, my jewelry made a splash. I want to open my first boutique soon. Awesome, right? Do you want your dreams to come true? Then subscribe to the channel, like this video, and tell me about your innermost desires in the comments down below.